Hey guys, it's your friendly neighborhood Doc here, and in today's video, I wanted to touch on a subject that I just read on Bleeding Cool. Okay, Rich Johnson came out with an article and was kind of poking fun, making fun at the fact that the Batman and Robin series by Philip Kennedy Johnson was being canceled after only 30 issues. And the point of the rub for me was that he was making fun that it was a heterosexual Robin instead of Percy. Get down, baby. Get down. Rather than the way that Tim Drake had been portrayed for the last few years as a gay character. I don't personally care whether a character is gay or straight or otherwise. And media outlets, whether they be kind of a joke like Bleeding Cool or an actual true, journalistic site with integrity, they shouldn't be pointing out whether the character is straight or gay or whatever. What they should be pointing out is that the title didn't have enough fans to continue. Because in the end, that's what pushes sales. There's not as many DEI champions and people out there that just want to see Robin be gay just to be gay. That's not enough of a change to bring about a meaningful change to the character that keeps things interesting. Instead, you have Damian Wayne, and he's an interesting enough character, but the numbers just weren't there. And people who want to push their own agenda, whether it be the straight community, the gay community, LGBTQ, anywhere in between, they try to push it as, oh, well, enough people didn't buy this. Or really it's not that. It's, oh, you didn't support this because it didn't succeed. No, it didn't succeed because it didn't draw in the numbers of people that it needed to stay cognizant and physical and present in the market. It doesn't matter about a character's orientation other than the stupidity of taking a character who has been straight for many, many decades and flipping them just to try to gain sales traction. Instead, why don't you create a compelling story, a compelling arc for that character, build that character up into something resembling greatness, and then you don't have to change their sexuality. You don't have to change anything quite so controversial about them. And honestly, it is controversial because if a character has been written a certain way for decades, for half a century, and then you come in and say, oh, well, he likes women now, or he likes men now, or he likes... That's not enough to bring that character into relevance. Okay? And the only reason that people do such things is for shock value. They don't do it truly to make that character relevant again. They do it for shock value. They say, okay, well, half of these readers are going to be turned off by this, but we're going to bring in so many more new readers that are saying, hey, this guy or this female is just like me. Well, there's not enough to carry that on the back of that. Instead, create compelling story arcs for these characters. Bring them into modern sensibilities, but don't necessarily bring them into a sensibility that is a flavor of the week. Whether they be white, black, don't gender swap them, don't race swap them, don't do any of that just to say, oh, look, it's new, it's shiny, it's, oh, no. That's not why these characters have survived for decades, almost 100 years, some of them. Batman is not relevant because of his sexuality. That is a part of the character, is that he is a playboy. But his sensibilities and the reason that the character has sustained such a loving and long audience is because he's the Dark Knight detective. is because of the characterization and the build-up and all of the care and the love and the support that people have put into these characters for decades. Decades building up who Bruce Wayne is, who Batman is, and why they are intrinsically linked. Superman doesn't work because he champions the poor or because he champions the rich or because he champions anybody except for those in need. Spider-Man goes and surrounds New York City. It's the melting pot of the U.S. If there's going to be any kind of foolishness, hate crime, gang murder, anything like that, it's going to happen in New York City. But Spider-Man, Peter Parker, as a character, does not judge those that he saves. He may not agree with the motives that those that he saves use occasionally, but he doesn't try to preach to them. He tries to teach them in the same way that Ben Parker tried to teach him, and a lesson that came, unfortunately, too late. So, Bleeding Cool, other websites, it's not cool to sit there and try to race bait or gender bait or LBGTQ bait any of this stuff. Instead, why don't you focus on, say, calling stories out that may not be as exciting as they need to be, that don't have character growth, don't have character-driven arcs, don't bring in the numbers that we used to see all the time. Todd McFarlane's Spider-Man #1 from 1990 was the first issue that I ever read. But even though the artwork is what drew me to the title, it was also the characterization of Peter and Mary Jane as a married couple. He got it. He understood it. As a young man, he was able to tap into that and say, you know what? There's a reason why these two are together, and they deserve each other, and they fit in to the space that the other negates. So why don't writers go out there and create compelling story arcs? I keep coming back to that because that's the one thing that sells a comic book. The Sacrificers is 10 times in story the book that Amazing Spider-Man currently is. It just is. It just is. I like Joe Kelly, and Joe Kelly can tell a great story, both with Deadpool and Spider-Man. But the stakes are not the same. And that's why I've started reading a whole lot more independent books, because the independent writers seem to understand that the story is more important, if not as important, as what kind of agenda that you're trying to push. So, what do you guys think? Do you think that I'm just old-fashioned and that I need to shut up and go away and stop pontificating on these sorts of things? Or do you think this is an honest issue in the comic book market, and that's why we don't see Amazing Spider-Man or any of these books sell for 300, 400, 500,000 copies anymore? I think that it's got a lot more to do with the story than it's got to do with a character's sexualization. So let me know in the comments what you guys think. Hope you have a wonderful day, and I will catch up with you next go around.